Nobody is talking about this. While the rest of the NFL is focused on blockbuster trades and superstar headlines, something very different is happening inside Green Bay. The Packers aren't making the loudest moves, they're making the smartest ones. Jordan Love looks more confident. Matt LaFleur sounds more aggressive. And the front office seems convinced that this young team is ready to take the next step. But here's the strange part. Most NFL fans haven't noticed what's actually changing. What if the Packers have already built a playoff-caliber team without anyone realizing it? And what if Jordan Love is about to prove every doubter wrong? By the end of this video, you'll understand why this offseason could become the turning point that Packers fans have been waiting for. Let's get into it. For most of the offseason, Green Bay stayed relatively quiet. No massive free agent spending, no headline-grabbing trade, no dramatic roster shakeup. To many fans, it looked like the Packers were simply trusting their young roster to improve naturally. But that's exactly where many people stopped paying attention. Because if you look beyond the headlines, a different story begins to emerge. Jordan Love is no longer trying to prove he belongs in the NFL. He's now preparing to lead a team with playoff expectations. That's a completely different level of pressure. And according to coaches and teammates, his confidence has grown dramatically since last season. He's communicating more, taking control of the offense, correcting mistakes before they happen, leading huddles with authority. Those aren't flashy highlights, but they're exactly the traits franchise quarterbacks develop before taking the next step. Matt LaFleur has also hinted that the offense will continue evolving, not changing completely. Evolving, that means building around Jordan Love's strengths instead of asking him to fit someone else's system. And if that happens, the Packers' offense could become much more dangerous than people expect. But Jordan Love isn't the only reason for optimism. Here's what makes this offseason so interesting. Most NFL fans judge a team by the biggest headlines. A blockbuster trade, a superstar signing, a raise believed in something different. They believe that long-term success comes from development, chemistry, and trusting young talent. And this offseason, they're doubling down on that philosophy. Instead of chasing expensive veterans, Green Bay focused on improving the play. Matt LaFleur the freedom to expand the offense. Expect more motion, more play action, more deep shots, and more opportunities for Love to make quick decisions before the defense even has time to react. But that's only one piece of the puzzle. The Packers' young receiving core may finally be ready to show up in off-season headlines. But they often become the difference between winning close games and losing them. And then there's the offensive line. Every successful quarterback needs protection. The Packers know that better than anyone. That's why the coaching staff continues stressing competition at every position. No starting job is guaranteed. Every practice matters. Every rep matters. That competition forces everyone to improve. Because when the offensive line plays better, Jordan Love plays better. The running game becomes more effective. The entire offense stays on schedule. And suddenly, drives that used to end in punts start ending in touchdowns. But here's the question nobody seems to be asking. What if this isn't just about improving the offense? What if the Packers are quietly building one of the most complete teams in the NFC? Because while everyone keeps talking about Jordan Love, something equally important has been happening on the other side of the football. And that's where this story becomes even more interesting. Now let's bring everything together. The Packers aren't trying to become the loudest team in the NFL. They're trying to become one of the smartest. That's why this off-season feels different. Instead of making one massive move, they've focused on improving every part of the roster. Jordan Love enters the season with another year of experience. Matt LaFleur has a quarterback who fully understands his system. The young receivers have built chemistry together. The offensive line has more competition than it did a year ago, and the defense has another off-season to grow under the coaching staff. Individually, none of those things make national headlines, but together they could completely change what this team looks like in 2026. Here's something Packers fans should remember. When Green Bay won consistently in the past, it wasn't because they always had the biggest names. It was because the team trusted its process. They developed players, they stayed patient, and when those young players finally clicked, the Packers became one of the most dangerous teams in football. That's exactly what this current roster is trying to accomplish. Jordan Love doesn't have to be the next Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't have to throw for 5,000 yards. He simply has to keep improving, make smart decisions, and lead this young team with confidence. If he does that, the Packers could surprise a lot of people this season. Many analysts are still sleeping on Green Bay. Some believe they're still a year away. Others think the NFC is simply too competitive. But that's exactly why this team could become one of the biggest surprises of the year. Because expectations are low, and that's often when the Packers play their best football. Now the real question is, are the Packers quietly building a championship contender, or are fans expecting too much from this young roster? I'd love to hear your opinion. Comment below, how many games do you think the Packers will win this season? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more Green Bay Packers news, analysis, and predictions every week. Thanks for watching Red Zone Vault, and as always,